Adopting organic tomato farming at home is much more than just a dietary choice. It's an act of self-care, sustainability, and empowerment. In a world increasingly aware of the impacts of industrialized foods and pesticide-laden produce, growing organic tomatoes in the comfort of your home becomes a healthy, practical, and accessible solution. By investing in organic tomato farming at home, you take control of everything involved in your food production. This means choosing non-GMO seeds, preparing a rich and living soil, using natural fertilizers, and most importantly, avoiding contamination by synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. The result is a truly pure and nutritious tomato, free of toxic substances that could affect your health in the long term. In addition to the direct benefits for your body, organic tomato farming at home offers a unique sensory experience. The flavor of a tomato picked straight from a vine, still warm from the sun, is incomparable. Homegrown tomatoes are sweeter, juicier, and far more aromatic than any store-bought product. The connection with food becomes deeper when you participate in every step of the cultivation, from planting to harvest. Another transformative aspect of organic tomato farming at home is its contribution to the environment. By eliminating the use of agrochemicals, you protect soil life, pollinators, and surrounding ecosystems. Moreover, by producing locally, you drastically reduce the need for transportation and packaging, lowering your carbon footprint and helping combat climate change. Organic tomato farming at home is also a smart way to save money and achieve greater food independence. The initial cost is low, and the returns are long-lasting. You cut expenses on fresh produce, avoid waste, and make the most of your harvest. Over time, it's even possible to multiply seedlings, save seeds, and create a small, productive garden indoors. But the fruits of organic tomato farming at home go beyond the physical. Caring for plants, observing the life cycle unfold, smelling the wet soil, and harvesting with your own hands a food you grew with love brings a deep sense of well-being and fulfillment. It's a therapeutic practice that strengthens your bond with nature and brings more presence and balance to daily life. For all these reasons, organic tomato farming at home is a powerful choice for those seeking health, autonomy, savings, and connection to the earth. Even in small spaces like balconies or sunny windowsills, it's possible to turn the environment into a source of clean, flavorful, and sustainable food. All it takes is sun, water, and dedication, and the reward will come in the form of vibrant, healthy fruits filled with meaning. Choosing the right variety is one of the most important steps to succeed in organic tomato farming at home. Not all types of tomatoes adapt well to small spaces or container growing, so knowing which varieties are best suited for a home environment can make all the difference between a productive plant and early disappointment. For beginners in organic tomato farming at home, determinate varieties, also known as bush tomatoes, are highly recommended. They grow to a certain height, produce in one cycle, and are ideal for those with limited space or seeking a more concentrated harvest. Popular examples include Roma, San Marzano, and Marglobe, which are great for sauces and homemade recipes. On the other hand, indeterminate tomatoes or vining tomatoes keep growing and producing over a longer period. They're perfect for those who want continuous production throughout the season. In this case, varieties like cherry tomato, sweet 100, and brandywine are widely used in organic tomato farming at home, especially when support structures and vertical space are available. Another key point in organic tomato farming at home is considering your regional climate and the microclimate of the area where the tomatoes will be grown, such as balconies, patios, or sunny beds. Some varieties tolerate intense heat better, while others thrive in milder temperatures. Reading seed labels and choosing those adapted to your climate zone significantly increases your chances of success. If the available space is very limited, so-called dwarf or miniature tomatoes are an excellent option. Varieties like Tiny Tim and Balcony Red were specifically developed for growing in pots and planters. These are ideal for organic tomato farming at home and apartments, as they require little space, are easy to manage, and produce a large quantity of flavorful fruits. Another important criterion for those practicing organic tomato farming at home is selecting disease-resistant varieties. Many organic or heirloom seeds are already bred for natural resistance, making maintenance easier and avoiding the need for chemical treatments. Finally, you can choose varieties with specific traits, like tomatoes with more pulp for sauces or sweeter ones for salads. The key is to align your culinary preferences with the plant's needs. And that's precisely what makes organic tomato farming at home such a personalized, rich, and rewarding experience. Creating the ideal conditions is essential to ensure the success of organic tomato farming at home. Even if cultivation takes place in small spaces like balconies, backyards, or planters, several factors must be carefully observed so tomatoes can grow vigorously, resist pests, and develop full flavor. When these conditions are met, the result is an abundant, healthy, and vibrant harvest. The first fundamental element in organic tomato farming at home is sunlight. Tomatoes are sun-loving plants and require at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. If possible, choose a spot facing north in the southern hemisphere or south in the northern hemisphere, where exposure is consistent throughout the day. Without enough light, the plants become weak, grow slowly, and produce fewer fruits. In addition to light, temperature is another key factor in organic tomato farming at home. Tomatoes grow best in mild to warm climates, between 64 degrees Fahrenheit and 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit or above 95 degrees Fahrenheit can harm flowering, fruiting, and may even cause flower drop. If you live in a cooler region, it's worth starting your crop in a homemade greenhouse with plastic covers or by protecting pots at night. Air quality and ventilation are also allies in organic tomato farming at home. A well-ventilated environment avoids excess humidity and prevents the onset of fungal diseases. Avoid fully enclosed or stuffy places like bathrooms or dark hallways. They can hinder both plant development and overall health. Another essential point in organic tomato farming at home is the soil or growing medium. It should be light, well-draining, rich in organic matter, and capable of retaining moisture. If planting in pots or planters, use a mix of garden soil, worm castings, compost, and perlite or coarse sand. This type of substrate ensures a nutritious and healthy base, ideal for root growth and efficient nutrient absorption. Drainage is equally important in organic tomato farming at home. Never let water accumulate in containers. This can lead to root rot. Make sure pots have holes at the bottom, and if possible, add a layer of expanded clay or stones before adding the substrate. Proper drainage prevents diseases like root rot and fungal outbreaks. Air humidity also affects plant performance in organic tomato farming at home. Very dry environments require more frequent watering, while highly humid spaces need increased attention to ventilation. The balance between watering and ventilation keeps the plant healthy, reduces pest risks, and ensures firm, well-formed fruits. Finally, the location of your crop should consider the household routine. Ideally, the area chosen for organic tomato farming at home should be easily accessible and allow for daily plant monitoring. This makes it easier to handle watering, pruning, staking, and the early detection of any issues that may arise. After planting, the key to success in organic tomato farming at home lies in the consistency of daily care. Growing tomatoes organically at home requires attention, observation, and small regular actions that, when combined, result in healthy, productive, and chemical-free plants. It is through this ongoing care that cultivation becomes a living practice, in harmony with nature's cycles. In organic tomato farming at home, irrigation is one of the central pillars of maintenance. Tomatoes need enough water to keep the soil moist, but never soaked. The ideal is to water deeply 2 to 3 times a week, adjusting according to the weather. On hot or windy days, evaporation is higher, requiring more attention. Whenever possible, water in the morning or late afternoon, directly at the base of the plant, to avoid moisture on the leaves, a simple measure that prevents many fungal diseases. Another essential task in organic tomato farming at home is staking. As plants grow, they need support to keep branches and fruits off the ground. Wire cages, bamboo stakes, or vertical trellises are great options and help not only with support, but also with air circulation and sun exposure. This support contributes directly to the plant's overall health and reduces the risk of breakage and infections. Pruning is another important step in the routine of organic tomato farming at home. Especially for indeterminate varieties, it's recommended to remove the side shoots, also known as suckers, that grow between the main stem and the branches. This directs the plant's energy toward vertical growth and fruit production, keeping the structure cleaner and more ventilated. In organic maintenance, top dressing should be done regularly. Every 15 to 20 days, you can add organic compost, worm castings, or apply liquid biofertilizers to ensure the plants receive the necessary nutrients throughout the cycle. In organic tomato farming at home, keeping the soil nourished is essential for flowering and fruit development. Pest and disease monitoring should be done visually and preventively. Observing the leaves, stems, and fruits daily allows for early detection of any imbalance. In organic tomato farming at home, solutions should always be natural and gentle. Garlic spray, neem oil, pepper infusions, diluted milk, or even horsetail tea help with control without harming the garden's ecosystem. In addition, cultivating diversity in your space is also part of smart maintenance in organic tomato farming at home. Companion plants like basil, garlic, chives, and calendula help repel pests, attract pollinators, and create a more balanced environment. This biodiversity is a powerful ally in keeping your mini farm healthy and productive with fewer interventions. Organic cultivation at home doesn't require perfection, but presence. And it's this presence, nurtured by daily care, that turns simple pots or beds into true sources of health, beauty, and abundance. Even with the best care, it's natural for some challenges to appear during the process of organic tomato farming at home, such as the emergence of aphids, whiteflies, or caterpillars. These small insects can weaken tomato plants. Control can be done with a simple garlic and pepper spray, neem oil, or diluted coconut soap solution sprayed on affected leaves in the late afternoon. Some diseases may also appear, like downy mildew or powdery mildew, caused by fungi that thrive in humid and poorly ventilated environments. In mild cases, a mixture of raw milk and water, in a 1:10 ratio, applied to the leaves can control fungal spread. Horsetail tea and garlic infusion are also effective and completely organic options. For those who want the exact recipe for each of these organic preparations, I'll leave a link to a complete resource in the first pinned comment. And after all that care, the harvest is undoubtedly the most awaited and rewarding moment of organic tomato farming at home. After weeks of monitoring plant growth, watering with care, fertilizing lovingly, and watching the first fruits form, the time to harvest finally arrives. And with it come important questions. When exactly should tomatoes be harvested? How long will the plant continue producing? And how should the fruits be stored properly? In organic tomato farming at home, the average time between planting and harvesting varies depending on the chosen variety, environmental conditions, and the type of care given. In general, tomatoes are ready for harvest between 60 and 90 days after sowing the seeds. If you started with seedlings, the wait is shorter, usually between 30 and 45 days. This time can extend in low-light environments or colder seasons, so it's essential to closely observe your plant's pace. Another key point in organic tomato farming at home is knowing how long the tomato plant will keep producing. Determinate varieties produce more intensively and finish within a few weeks. Indeterminate varieties, which grow and bloom continuously, can produce tomatoes for 3 to 4 months straight, as long as they receive proper light, water, and nutrients. That means, with the right care, you can harvest fresh tomatoes from your balcony or backyard for much of the season. But how do you identify the exact harvest time in organic tomato farming at home? The ideal point is when the tomato is fully colored, whether red, yellow, orange, or pink, depending on the variety, and begins to soften slightly to the touch. The distinct aroma of ripe tomatoes is also a good indicator. Avoid harvesting the fruits while they're still green, unless it's a variety bred for that, as they may not develop full flavor after being removed from the plant. Reaching the end of a growing cycle is, in fact, the beginning of a new perspective on what it means to plant, care, harvest, and eat with awareness. Organic tomato farming at home is more than an agricultural practice. It's a transformative experience that teaches far more than just cultivation techniques. It invites you to slow down, to observe nature's rhythms, to touch the earth with respect, and to rediscover the beauty of simple things. Next, I'll leave a video on how to grow organic tomatoes, where I explain the step-by-step process for a bountiful harvest. See you soon. Let's move towards a bountiful earth.